there were widespread practices that today we would consider somewhat horrifying, such as sterilizing people who were considered feeble-minded. We had sterilization program in America, but we never went to euthanasia. But in Germany they did.
My name is Nicole Deslon. I'm the Assistant Curator of Education here at the Warhol Museum. For the past 10 to 12 years, the Warhol has been a place for public discussion and public debate on controversial issues, as well as using the power of images as a catalyst for discussion.
My name is David Kremen, and I'm on the commission of the Holocaust Center here in Pittsburgh. We are at the Warhol Museum, which is collaborating with the Holocaust Center in putting on this exhibit, Deadly Medicine. The exhibit was actually prepared by the U.S. Holocaust Museum. The point of the exhibit, you might say, is how evil can come from good, or often the mixture of good and bad. What we're talking about is the development of what was called eugenics, an effort which came out of the development of biology and evolutionary biology in the 19th century in an effort to improve the health of the population in general. Better hygiene practices, better child rearing practices, and also trying to figure out how to breed people somewhat like animals in order to get a better stock. And then eventually that gets attached to a political agenda which says that there can be a master race, and then what we want to do is we want to get rid of the undesirables and promote only the master race. The First World War was a very devastating event. You had so many of the young and healthy who were killed in periods of great turmoil and decline. Very often the birth rate declines, the marriage rate declines, family life begins to fall apart. And people were alarmed. They say, you know, what's going to happen? Then they notice, because of 19th century medicine had established institutions to take care of the lame and the sick and the mentally disabled. So people are saying, well, wait a minute, we've lost all the youth who hold the good genes and got stuck with all the bad genes, and they're all in institutions and we're paying for them. So people started saying, well, at the very least, let's sterilize them so that they can't reproduce more bad stock. In 1935, there was the famous Nuremberg laws, which were calculated to establish rules to purify the German race. Of course, the most famous part was the one that everyone knows about, where they made it illegal for a Jew and a non-Jew to marry or to have sexual relations. Here you see a picture of a man who says, "Ich bin ein Rasseschänder." I'm a race defiler. Part of this was this notion that we had to keep the stock pure, and that the impure stocks, when mixed in with the pure stock, they will create a degeneration. So this was a sort of movement, if you will, from the notion of eugenics, that we need to improve the stock of our people and create a healthier people without disabilities, to a notion that we're now in the master race. The consequences were that first, on the eve of war, Hitler issues a very short little note to one of his assistants saying that people who are handicapped, if they're incurable, we should provide them with a mercy killing. And then there is a decree from the Ministry of the Interior which says every child that's born, the midwife must report if it has any one of the following deformities or weaknesses to the Ministry of the Interior, and of course the purpose was to kill them. Here in this picture we see one of the institutions where the killing of the disabled took place. This is the smoke from the bodies of those who are being cremated. And the program went on through the war. They killed about 70,000 Germans who were deemed to be handicapped. They began using medical methods, sedatives, starvation. I mean, it's kind of gruesome. But then they decided, well, that gassing might be the better way to do it. And you'll see there is a video in the exhibit here which shows quite graphically how they did it. And that was how gassing began as a program of extermination and murder by the Nazis. When it came to the question of what to do with the groups who were not handicapped but who were going to be destroyed because of their ethnicity they belonged to, the Jews in particular, they sent in what were called the Einsatzgruppen. These were SS people, and they would line people up and just shoot them. And it came to the attention of the Nazi hierarchy that this was rather disturbing, to the Einsatzgruppen actually killing people that they could see they were killing them. So they decided they need to look for a method of killing that would be less personal. And then they began using various types of gases.
Our education department's mission is also to engage school-age children in exploring some of those issues, both through their teachers and through artist educators here at the museum. And we plan to bring over 2,000 students through over the period of the next few months until the closing date on March 18th. We believe that this could be a catalyst for learning, for discussion, for engaging groups of all ages, using deadly medicine, creating the master race as a lens through which to view this terrible moment in history, and to really reflect on it and to make sure that we don't travel down those same roads again.
The misuse of science and medicine for a political agenda, I think that's the lesson that we hope people will take from this, and also to provoke people to think about it. And that's the whole reason for these exhibits, is to cry out and bring to the attention of people. So when any similar event comes along, people will rise up and prevent its full execution.